So today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump with these two college students, trying to figure out their opinions on him and on some of the things that he's been doing. So, what are your guys' overall opinions about Donald Trump and his presidency so far?
I didn't vote for Trump, and I've never really been a big fan of him. Certainly not since he was elected. I think he's made a bunch of mistakes in terms of intervening in places where he shouldn't, including like the travel ban and Syria and things like that. And I think he's just trying to be a little bit too aggressive, and he's focused on his appearance more than he is the American public, I think.
And I voted for Trump, and I don't necessarily disagree with everything he's been doing.
Why?
Because I feel like he's making the right choices by being assertive with everything that's been happening lately.
Okay, so you said that you feel he's being a little too aggressive. Does that in any way strike fear or concerns about anything?
Yeah, he has such a huge amount of power and responsibility right now that the fact that he's abusing it, in my mind, is very frightening for the future and perhaps possible conflicts in the future that he may create between different nations.
Okay. So moving towards more so you as a college student, are there any concerns with him being president, as in, possibly tuition getting increased or in regards to that kind of stuff? Do you fear that school's going to get more expensive, scholarships are going to be taken away?
I don't know if that's a direct cause of Trump. It's not a really good situation right now, and I don't necessarily pin that to him and make that. I don't think it's necessarily his responsibility to focus on that first.
Mm-hmm.
But if in any way he raises my cost, I'm definitely not going to be a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I don't think he would do that, but since he is definitely seen as just a businessman, it would seem like something he could do to raise tuition, which I don't think a lot of college students would appreciate.
Do you feel that he's going to be creating jobs for you guys, since you'll be graduating by the time he's done being president? Do you think there'll be more jobs available to you guys as students once you graduate?
I think that's a big focus of his, and I am behind that. I don't know if he's going to do it in the right way or allocate funds for that aspect of his presidency from the right places. But if he does open up jobs by the time that we graduate and make it easier for us to secure a career, that'd be great. I just don't think that that's really on his agenda right now. I think he's focusing on some of the other mistakes that he's made in the past.
Okay.
I think he will open up more jobs because it may not be his focus right now, but maybe towards the end of his presidency, he'll focus on that.
Okay. So Trump is very Republican and is against Planned Parenthood. He's mentioned trying to get rid of Planned Parenthood, which Planned Parenthood is something that a lot of college students use, as in regards to like birth control and getting more information about how to get protected if they are having sex, and how to plan a family if they have one while they're in college. What are your initial reactions to him trying to get rid of it?
I think excluding abortions, I think it's absolutely ridiculous to get rid of something that helps people plan their future endeavors regarding their own personal choices. And in regards to abortions, I'm completely against removing that option for people who are either raped or have an accidental pregnancy and things like that.
And then myself as a woman, I feel that I should have the right to have the choice of having an abortion. Maybe not actually pursuing that, but just to have the option there is more comforting. And plus, it wouldn't help anything. It would just be encouraging more illegal abortions and procedures that aren't going to be up to medical standards, I guess you would say. But I think it's more so, like, it's just not right because it goes against the Roe versus Wade case, and which just entitles women's rights to have abortions, and I just disagree with that.
So many Americans are pretty afraid of Trump. I mean, his approval rating is still below 50%. So more than, half of Americans disagree with Trump and are almost afraid of Trump. What are some things that you think Donald Trump can do to raise his approval rating and get the American citizens to back him?
I think the number one thing that he needs to focus on right now is kind of toning down his aggressive behavior and aggressive persona. And one thing that would gain my respect and a lot of Democrats, I think, is focusing on the things that he actually said that he would be doing during his campaign. And I think kind of cherry picking these different issues from around the world that he's bringing into the White House aren't really, they may be relevant, but I just don't think he's handling it in the right way. And I think one thing that he could do is stop focusing on those, although they are important issues, but mainly just kind of pull in the reins and not be all over the place in terms of his political agenda. I think he needs to focus on what he really told his supporters that he'd be doing, and he's not.
I think what he could do to comfort more of the citizens is to just participate more in volunteer work and just to be more positive about things rather than so aggressive.
Okay. So Trump has made statements that are, quite frankly, very vulgar towards women and different racial groups, such as like Hispanics and Mexicans, wanting to keep them on their side, threatening Mexico to pay for the wall that he's supposedly going to build, and by basically banning Muslims from coming into the country. How does that make you feel, and do you think something like that should change? Do you think there should be more restrictions on immigration in America? What are your overall opinions on that in regards to what Trump has said and done?
I think I think the multitude of things that have been pinned against him, especially during his campaigning days, kind of illustrate this incredibly childlike mentality that he has in terms of women and races and things like that. And I think it's kind of outrageous that somebody who has like this myriad of offenses kind of behind him, I think it's kind of outrageous that somebody like that could be president of like the most powerful nation in the world.
And just in regards to the Hispanics and Mexicans that are illegal in the country, and so I'm Hispanic, and I don't feel at all threatened by Trump, but that's because I am a U.S. citizen. The rules of immigration have always been that if you're not a citizen, you shouldn't be here unless you are trying to become a citizen. So, Obama took exported out so many immigrants, and he didn't really get any sort of negativity pinned towards him against that. So I don't think Trump is doing anything wrong with exporting the immigrants that shouldn't be here. But I don't think his racist remarks towards Muslims and Mexicans are appropriate at all. And his remarks towards women were very inappropriate, and I don't think it makes women feel comfortable at all.
So that's one of the things he should change during his presidency, maybe apologize for his actions.
And seem sincere, because people will probably just think that he was told to do that. So.
Okay.
Absolutely. He just denies everything and just kind of diffuses it onto other people.
Okay. So, as college students, what are some things that you're hoping that will come forward with this presidency?
Hopefully he will clean up his administration and not have such a gang of clowns, in my mind, in the White House with this kind of crazy team of people who aren't really feeding him the right kind of information and aren't really helping him in any way, the way that they're supposed to. And if he got some professional people who were more focused on the American public instead of his family and the things that he's asking, I think that could really benefit America.
I really hope that he ends up creating a lot of jobs, and I hope that I mean, soon, that all of the negativity towards him and everything will just go away, and maybe he'll change and do things for the better and more to be more positive and not so negative like how he's been.
Okay. Thank you guys for participating in this video.